very first time. And our existing members, thanks for coming back. We appreciate it, big time. Now, the book is Mark Hamilton and Family and You, and you know I'm repetitious on this, but it's important. The book is what its name is. It's a combination of the writings of Mark Hamilton, his father, Frank R. Wallace, his mother, Tracy Alexander, his son and daughter, and his brother, Eric Savage. That's the family. And who's the you? You. You are. I am. Many of our members wrote testimonials a few years ago, and Mark implemented them in this manuscript. So you've got those. That's where Mark Hamilton and Family and You come from. That's the title. I will go over a little bit of how the book works, and I'll give you a playback number for tonight before we get into the program. Now, this particular program is not your norm in some cases. We are going to be discussing two particular areas tonight, and then I'm opening up the lines for Q&A. I like Q&A. I like interaction. You know, we have a Q&A after this call, but I want you all to hear what's going on. Some people get off and they don't hear what other people have to say. So we're going to allow some time for some Q&A tonight, so you'll be able to ask us questions. Now, when I say us, I'm here with Charlie Moore. Charlie works with me on these programs, and he brings his mentorship to the program. So, Charlie, how are you tonight?
Doing good, Steve. You?
Terrific. I'm doing good. I really am. Had a good day, good evening last night, and I'm feeling good. So I'm looking forward to tonight's program. I really am. Excuse me. Quick note, Joanne in Alaska called me. Joanne's okay. Her family seems to be okay. They had a few broken windows and things, but they held out from, as you all know, there was an earthquake out there today. 7.0. That's pretty strong. And if you saw the pictures, it was pretty devastating to some places. So Alaska had their earthquake. Joanne, who's a member of our society in Alaska, is doing okay. And I wanted to let everybody know that. But Alaska, we got to, let's think of the people who are still struggling. Every day it seems like something between the weather, between these issues. There's a talk about a tsunami. I don't know. Maybe global warming, whatever. Something's going on somewhere. So we're going to continue on tonight with this program. But before I do so, please write the following. For our new members specifically, we do have a recording for this call. You can listen to it. And we do recommend have a pen and paper so that you can take notes. But the recording for tonight's call is the following. Please was the 24th. Because I have a date here saying that the 16th, and I go, no, that's not it.
No, it was the 23rd.
Yeah, okay. So last Friday I had down as the 24th. That was 20. I guess it was the 23rd. Exactly, it was the 23rd because we had Thanksgiving on the 22nd. Actually, so it was the 23rd, guys. We had reference number 63. Tonight, which is the 30th, will be 64. So please make a note of that and look for that reference number. You're going to need it because the operator will ask you for a reference number. So again, last week was 63, which was the 23rd. This is the 30th. It'll be 64. So there you go for that. Okay. Now, we ended last week's call discussing Vision 11, which was Advantage 11, actually. And I just want to mention something for the new members before we get started. Please go to have your books. You should always have your books out, your manuscripts for this class, because it is kind of a work session. So I'm going to ask you to please have your book out. Go to Mark Hamilton and Family and You. Go to page 5. It's Roman numeral 5. And it shows you the table of content if you're not sure how to read this book. Mark brings them out in parts. Part 1, and then it has like chapters. So he's got part 1, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, tonight, we're going to be working on chapter 4, My Society, A Dirty Little Secret. So make a note of that. We're going to be going to that section. And then we talk about part 2, which is Mark's brother, which is Eric Savage. And he has it on chapter 7. Part 3 is his daughter and his son, 8 and 9. Part 4 is Mark's mother, Tracy Alexander, which is the Breakthrough to Enlightenment, which is chapter 10. Part 5 is his father, Frank R. Wallace, which we're going to refer to tonight, chapter 11, the Breakthrough, which is actually the Neotech Abridged, which is 114 advantages, and we will be working on Advantage 11, my father. Part 6, Mark Hamilton continues his writings to us on chapters 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Then there's part 7, which is our testimonials, and it's all chapter 18. All right, so you need to know that table of content to understand this book. You can't go by pages. All righty. So in a little while, we're going to go to the Dirty Little Secret. But to that, first, we're going to go back, and we're going to dig into Neotech Advantage number 11. As a mentor, I try to integrate as much as possible with you. So not only the material I give you, look at the way I present the material. Sometimes I may just do one chapter after another, but then there's times I integrate chapters, and I integrate information. And this is very important that you learn your integration mentality. So as your mentor, I'm not going to just give you one dimension. I'm going to take you into conceptualization and concepts from percepts, one idea to multiples. And so the way we present may get confusing to you, but I'm going to break you out of your comfort zones of one dimension to multiple dimensions, okay? So be aware that when I present, I will bring in several chapters and mix it in a little bit and integrate it for you. I'm not doing it to confuse you. I'm doing it for you to get out of your comfort zone. You will be confused, but you will be getting more insightful on how to think. Mark Hamilton tells us we don't think. We memorize. We don't really know how to use our brain power correctly. We never have. We are born as Zons. We know that. We know we have the capabilities. We know we have the functions, but the learning process was incorrect for us. The school system never really showed us how to think properly, how to use the right brain, left brain, how to use what is logical versus creative, how to understand the focus of numbers. So we have to reprogram our brains, and we have to develop and evolve our brains. So that's what I'm going to do as a mentor. I try to help you evolve to a better understanding of how to think. And what is it? Create picture puzzles, picture puzzles. Now, I do the escalating program, and I got a call this week about, well, how do I imagine pictures and picture puzzles? That was the question. I said, you use your imagination. Do you understand what an imagination is? Now, some members may not get that, but it is a function of our brain power, which comes under our creativity in our right brain, to look and imagine color, imagine shapes, imagine sizes, imagine like issues, processes, putting it in our brain in a picture format. And our right brain does that. The logical part puts it in an organized fashion for us. See, we're very grateful for what we have with our brain power. And we have to keep using it. But you also have to start to believe in yourself. Everybody, we are, in some cases, stuck with our knowledge of how we're using NeoThink. Well, it's great to read the material, but unless you understand it and dig into it, you're not going to use it correctly. I'm going to dig into this particular advantage with you tonight, and then we're going to have some Q&A, and then we're going to get into the Robinhood program. But I want to stay here, and I want to dig into this advantage for two reasons. I want to show you how to read this, and as you know, I do these sessions on reading. And I also want you to learn something very powerful. This is a concrete foundation for your NeoThink journey. Advantage number 11, which is Neotech. And remember, Neotech refers to the writings of Dr. Frank R. Wallace. Neothink refers to the writings of Mark Hamilton. So you don't confuse yourself. So what we're going to do is, if you all have it on page 25 of Neotech Abridged, where I told you where to go, let's take this one particular advantage. I picked this one out of all of them, really, because of self-esteem and the rewards from living a really powerful life. And also, it has a self-evaluation test, which I think we're going to take together tonight. And let's see what we come up with. So let's get our brain powers going, and let's get our focus going, let's get our concentration. And all of you who were on my call last night, we talked about concentration and getting that in place. So here we go. Self-esteem and the rewards from life. Page 25, Neotech Abridged. Happiness of man and woman is not based on sex or pleasure, but on self-esteem. Have you ever realized, everybody, by the way, I dig into each sentence. I'm not just going to read it and gloss over it. We're going to dig into it. Have you ever really looked back and thought, do I like myself? Do I believe in myself? Do I question myself? Am I off balance? Am I a loser? Am I a winner? Am I a champion? We heard that a few years ago about being champions. Well, are you? Or am I? You know, I need you to kind of look at coming into your adult world. Now, many of us have been adults for four decades maybe, or more. But coming into that journey of being a adult, what was your preparation to be that person? What was your foundation to be the Zahn you're supposed to be the believer you're supposed to be the value creator you're supposed to be? Therefore, having a strong self-esteem. I probably would give my $1 million to have been told in the third grade and have Miss Annabelle type teacher who looks at me and says, Stephen, to me as an 8-year-old kid, you're going to make a difference in the world. You're going to improve the world for the better. You're here on this planet to do that, and you're going to do it. I'm so proud of what you're going to offer the world. So we're going to find out exactly what that talent is in this classroom this year. Imagine having that said to you in the first day of class. You're going to improve the world. You're going to take something of a service or product, and it's going to better humanity. You are a value creator, Stephen, whatever term you want to use. Imagine being told that in the third grade, as Miss Annabelle told her students. 8 years old. I'd be flying high. Because, you see, I came from a generation when children were seen and not heard. Children would have sit in their corners and keep their mouths shut. Children were not supposed to use their imaginations. They didn't want them to even know what that was. That was a bad word in some cases because you became undisciplined. We have to change our thinking, everybody. We have to change our mindsets. And tonight I'm asking you to start making changes. Do you believe you're going to be a value creator? Do you believe you're going to change the world? Or do you believe you're going to take the world to a higher level? Are you going to be the one or ones to bring us to the civilization of the universe and get out of the AC world? But you're going to have to do it if you have self-esteem and beliefs in yourself. Self-esteem acquires through honesty and creativity, and he uses the word productivity, is a requisite or foundation for romantic love and sensuous pleasures. Okay, now he uses the word productivity, and remember, these were written a while ago. We don't use productivity anymore. We use the word creativity or creations. Because, see, we're value creators. We're not value producers. What we learned over time was, and after Dr. Wallace originally had the value producer for it, was when you produce, you're producing for somebody else. Therefore, you're fulfilling their dreams, not yourself. We as neo-thinkers want to fulfill our own dreams, right? So we've got to be value creators. We create the future. We create the better values. We create the products and services. And Dr. Wallace wants you and I to know in this particular segment that it does connect to romantic love and sensuous sex. Now, isn't this interesting? Sensuous sex. Is anybody sex? It's about sex. Is anybody cringing right now? Now, if you're part of my Rise to Neotech class that we do on Tuesdays, you shouldn't even think twice about this because we talk about a lot of sex and sensuous sex because Dr. Wallace discusses sex quite openly in the Rise of Neotech manuscript. And that's part of who we are when we look at the whole picture of us as human beings and as being, our bodies, etc., as well as our minds and our emotions. So he puts these things in the writings. And I'll be honest with you. I had read this particular advantage many times over the last 12 years. And as a matter of fact, I just celebrated my 12th anniversary in the society around the 20th of November. And I remember that I glossed over all this. And I've talked about this on Tuesday nights, but I want to talk to you because you're an audience that needs to hear this. That the sexual part, to me, made me uncomfortable. I came from a strict religious background. I came from a point where we didn't talk about body parts or genitals or any of that stuff. That was taboo, even though it's who we are. But, so that somehow took me into Neotech. So when I would read that sentence, I just glossed over it. But tonight, we don't gloss over it. We're going to dig into it. So nobody get uncomfortable. Nobody get nervous. Dig into this information. Self-esteem requires through honesty, and that's our honesty. It's pure honesty. And creating or creativity, which is going to be the requisite for romantic love and sensuous pleasures. So for all of you out there who's looking at love of your life or having that relationship, you got to make sure you're living a life of pure honesty and you're a value creator. Are you in that place yet? Because Dr. Wallace is saying you need those prerequisites to get to that sensuous pleasure and romantic love. And our sensuous pleasures mean mental, physical, and emotional. Now, he wants us to connect this to a romantic love relationship. Sensuous sex, which is our physical beings, etc., add an intensity to human pleasure that's not accepted anywhere else in the society of life. You've got to have that sensuous sex as part of your sexual experience and love of it. And sex is to be loved and enjoyed, not to be, looked at as a taboo. And he says, and this is a great sentence, sensuous pleasures are the rewards for our day-to-day rational creative actions. Isn't that exciting? So we are given rewards. I mean, our bodies were made to function and move around and talk and think, but it's also that pleasure. To have pleasure through two beings coming together and uniting their bodies with love, caring, or as an add-on in a very, very honest, caring way. It's an add-on to the work, and it's a reward for all the work and energy we're putting into society and for ourselves. So we're giving ourselves a reward. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's good. You see, it's all good. So we want to know that factor and be aware of it. So in order for us to hit a true self-esteem, all these puzzle pieces have to be put in place. They all have to be connected. And some of them will make you uncomfortable. Well, don't be uncomfortable, because we all got to go through it. And guess what? We all have the male functions for all of us guys, and the women function for the women. It's the way it is. It's nature. It's the universe. It's beautiful. Think about it. Don't make it dirty. Make it beautiful. Continues on with the following. He says again, it's the rewards for our creating action. And then it adds other functions of value. Financial prosperity, long-range happiness, are the rewards of a creative, productive life. Now, let's go back to our first letters. Let's go back to the letters that told you how great you are, told you how special you are, told you why you were picked for the society, and how do you want to reach unlimited health, happiness, and romantic love. How many of you remember the 56-page pamphlet? And you had all these people who were telling you how they became successful by using material. Well, here's a secret right now. They don't go into all these secrets in the pamphlets. They kind of give you results. Well, we're going to dig into what gets to those results. And here is a major piece that I need you to highlight. Get your highlighters out, everybody. Yellow highlighter, blue ones, yet green. And put down sensuous pleasures, financial prosperity, romantic love, and long-range happiness are the rewards of a creative, honest life. That's what those people were trying to explain to you in those manuscripts, or in that particular 56-page, which was the free book we all got, the pamphlet. And they said, I've got a beautiful financial life. I have the most love of my life. The most beautiful person came into my life. Maybe they were with you in the past. They're back with you now. And they're the rewards, because the secret is I am living a honest life today. My morals are very strong, on the up and up, and I'm creating values, and I'm getting rewarded for it. Bingo. There's your secret function. That is an ingredient. I am creating values. I am living an honest life. And basically, it's a pure love and pure honesty. Love in your heart, honesty on your lips. That's the keys to being able to live a life of reaching financial success, reaching the love of your life, romantic love, happiness, health. All that comes from a result of being creative and living an honest life. That's the key. Self-esteem is a person's estimation of his or her own self-worth. It's based on our ability to live independently, happily, and competitively. And it deals with reality. Okay, get your piece of paper and write self-esteem, and right under it, it should say independence, life of happiness, competition. Do you always notice how Dr. Wallace brings you back into business? That's what that means in a business function of competition. And it's dealing in what is in reality. You may not have realized this or not, but reality is our foundation of Neotech. I don't know, again, if you know the definition of it. Integrated honesty to know reality. That's the definition of Neotech. Integrated honesty, and here's the honesty again, integration, and living in reality and knowing it. Living in reality is you'll get these rewards by living in reality. However, if you're creating reality and you're in illusion and la-la land, you'll be frustrated why you're not reaching your goals. And that's one of the reasons why people say, well, I'm not getting my independence, I'm not getting my happiness, I'm not getting all those millions of dollars, because you're not living in reality. You're not living in the what is world that Miss Annabelle used to talk about. You have to dig it down to the what is. Again, another secret. What is? To the bottom line of what it is. So that's what you have to do, and that's what you have to dig into. So get to the what is so you can get to that limited health, happiness, romantic love, plus your competition, plus your concept of value creation. If you're going to go to higher levels of self-esteem, where you are really on top of the world with yourself, you got to have a commitment to being objective and honest. Objectivity, not subjectivity, objectivity. Again, what is? Looking at the facts, looking at the actual information, asking the questions, not living in blind faith. You've got to get rid of blind faith. It's got to be destroyed. You've got to live in what is. But there's a key. Dr. Wallace warns you and me that in order to live objectively and honestly, it's going to take work. It's going to make decisions. It's going to take mentality shifts. But you see, whether we like it or not, we live in a world of deception. We live in a world of white lies. We live in a world of liars. And we've been taught to lie all the days of our lives and how to adjust the truth or honesty. And we're very good at it, all of us. We've all become very good at it. Well, it's time to break that chain. The lying chain, dishonesty chain must be destroyed. And that's another piece of what we have to break. So put it in your notepad. The dishonesty needs to be destroyed. And whether you like it or not, every one of us has a dishonest streak in us. Because we have been taught to be liars, cheaters, manipulators, enviers. Okay? That's all part of it. The key you've got to do is to accept that you are part of that, and then you're going to break away from it. Reality. What is reality? Do you stretch the truth? Are you envious of people? Do you like to stab people in the back? Do you like to be critiqued? Do you like to give rumors out? Who's the gossip mongers? Those are all the AC world of dishonesty. And we have to destroy it, because you will not reach the higher level of self-esteem unless you eliminate that and be honest and live in objectivity reality. So you've got to start, and it's going to take work and time. And you got to work at it daily, constantly focusing it. Make it a mini day. And you got to keep working at it, because again, remember what's the reason why I tell you got to keep working at it? Bicameral mentality. Remember, for many, many generations, we are bicameral. We still are, some of us, if not all of us. And we haven't broken through all the mysticisms. So we can easily be, pushed back into that bicameral world with just some kind of enticement. Got to be very careful. So what does self-esteem mean? What is it actual? Self-esteem is a feeling of feeling worthy, competent to live in this world, being in control of this life. As a neo-thinker, as a mystic-free man, woman, we take control of existence. That's how powerful we are. We take the control of existence. But we have to make sure we have a value creator orientation, or if we're not doing the value creator, what are we becoming? A value destroyer. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to look at the quiz of value creator versus value destroyer. I'm then going to ask Charlie, matter of fact, why don't you come on up? Anything, comments you'd like to bring in, and the two of us can do this test together with everybody, and then we're going to open the lines for some questions.
Sure. Great job, Steve.
Thank you. Any comments on anything I've said that you'd like to add to before we do the test?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Big V. This is the Friday night 5 p.m. call that happened on November 30th, 2018. Thank you.
Building block of building our lives. And basically, everybody on this call, where is your self-esteem at this point? Is it on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest? Where do you feel that your self-esteem is? And if it's not a 10, then you have to ask yourself, well, why isn't it? Here's where the honesty comes in. We have to be so honest with ourselves. So you have to ask yourself, well, why, if I'm only a 5...
I will be fast forwarding this call because this is the replay of the Friday night call. It's the Mark Hamilton family and you call. So I'll be fast forwarding it through the Q&A. So you're going to hear a lot of beeps. Be right back.
And then you'll get to the point where, all right, so it's low because of this and that, and I haven't really felt it. And then you have to ask yourself, well, how do I get it? How do I build my self-esteem? And obviously, if you read these books, you'll start to put all those pieces together of how you can do that. But you will never reach any of your goals without self-esteem. You just can't do it. And you'll never have control of your life without self-esteem. Because if you have self-esteem, you have control. Do you think that Steve or me could ever come on this call, not tonight, if we didn't have self-esteem about this knowledge about NeoThink and NeoTech? But how do we do that? Well, we read these books about a zillion times a piece. But we want to build our, to build your confidence, knowledge has to come in there somewhere. And there's no better knowledge than what we have in these books. But if you start reading this, start learning the knowledge, and then putting that knowledge into action, you'll be surprised how fast your self-esteem will go up. You'll start walking around in a whole different posture. And you know that you have the edge over everybody else just by understanding NeoThink. I mean, it's amazing how much knowledge is such a big part of this. But there's all the steps that we have. You heard them all before. The mini self-leader programs. All those things build your self-confidence, your self-esteem. And I'm sure that most of us, when we came here, have probably, we were all under like a 3 or a 4, maybe on the scale of 10, if it's that high. We all came here for a reason, and that's one of them, even if you never really thought about it before. Because if you came here, that means that your life wasn't going really great. And the reason that it wasn't going great is because we didn't believe in ourselves. We were lying to ourselves. We weren't doing all the things that we wanted to do. We weren't doing our Friday night essence. We weren't living the life that we always wanted to live. And we probably thought that we would never get there. But since you came here, do you think, go back to the day when you first went away for the first book and take it up until today. Compare where your self-esteem was then to now. Has it gone up? Has it stayed the same? Has it gone down? That's all up to you where that's going. But if you live your life, like Mark said, that Franco Wallace talks about in here about building your confidence by honesty, knowledge, being creative, all those things lead to it. But you have to get it first to really start understanding it, and that's where it all pays off. It pays off when your self-esteem starts going. That's the first thing you have to concentrate on here, in my eyes. Self-esteem. You have to start believing in yourself. If you don't, you'll never move anywhere here. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? It affects every part of your life when you don't believe in yourself. And you have to ask yourself, why don't I? What mythicisms am I still holding on to that's stopping me? Why am I listening to these people who tell me that I'm no good, that I can't do anything? And I'm believing them instead of me. You've got to change that mentality, and it's got to be changed starting today. Because I tell you, it's a whole different ballgame when you start believing in yourself. And I was not at that stage when I came here 11 years ago. Believe me, I was a mess. So, dig in, find out why. Be honest with yourself to start out. I think that's the first step. Just start dealing with yourself and saying, what's stopping me? Why am I stopping myself? Nobody's stopping you. You are. But once you turn that corner just a little bit, you'll start feeling it. Just by understanding what's going on this call tonight. Just by reading Advantage number 11 and really understanding it. There's where you start, right there. And with that, Steve, I'll toss it back to you.
Okay, then let us both take the self-evaluation test, and everybody else take it with us. They're going to be, in the test, he mentions again value producer orientation. Change that to creator orientation, after what I've explained earlier. There are two sections here on the value creator orientation that we have to look at, because some of us are at one level and some of us are at the other level. And it's okay, you're where you're supposed to be. Or you could be doing both. Like myself, I'm actually I'm on both of these, and I would be checking both of these. Because I've earned my livelihood by creating competitive values tradable in the free market, which I'm doing as a life coach and business coach. But I'm also still a student gaining knowledge necessary to become a value creator in the tradable world. I'm always looking to be better and in growing it and developing it. So I'm ongoing a student. But I am creating, because I have a business now that is creating values for society. So to me, I would be checking off both. Charlie, what about you?
Same thing, Steve, yeah.
Okay. So we're doing it and creating it to the world. Some of you still are trying to find your Friday night essence. So you're in that student gaining the knowledge. It's good. But you see, that's the beauty for all of us on this call. You're doing either both, or at least you're the student gaining the knowledge. Because Charlie brought up something, yes, we read the books, but I've got to add another to it. We also took action with the material. We just can't read the books and say everything's going to be great. I had a member who called me today and said, well, do I have to do anything with the books, or if I just let them sit, will everything come to me? True statement. It ain't going to come to you. You got to make it happen. You got to create it. Just because you bought the books, you're not going to put them on a shelf and somehow it's going to have some kind of, voodoo that it's going to bring up everything. You got to work at it. You can't just buy the books. You got to put the energy into it. So all of us we're students, or we are also already creating it through our Friday night essences. So that's number one. Now, the value destroy orientation. Now, this is a very important point here, and I'll tell you after I answer this question why I am as adamant I am about certain things, and then maybe Charlie would like to add his 2 cents. I do not earn my livelihood by creating values for others. Instead, I live off the values produced by others. How many do that? And by the way, this is for you. You don't need to answer this for anybody. This is for you. Are you a usurper, which means I live off other people's values? Are you a dishonest parasitical elite type? Look at it. I will say I don't do that. I'm very cautious of not doing that. I make my own income. I make my own money. I make my own investment programs. I do all that my way. I don't use others. Number 2, I am a student learning how to manipulate people by using government, religion, and other forms of neo-cheating and mysticism to usurp a livelihood from value creators. That's what I was trying to explain earlier. We are taught in the AC world to be manipulators, to be liars, to be cheats. And guess what? 11 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I would have probably answered that question. Because in a way, that's what I was doing. Mentally thinking it was right. Well, it's wrong. You can't do it. So I have walked away from that. As you know, everybody knows I've walked away from religion. have a whole new approach to politics than I had in the past. It's completely changed on how I look at it. My concept of understanding giving values to the world, it's got to come from me. I don't work for a company anymore. I will not get a paycheck from somebody. If I don't get a paycheck, that means I haven't worked. It's up to me to get my own paycheck. I don't take it from another company because I don't want to fulfill somebody else's dreams. I want to fulfill my own, which Neil Think has told me, and that's going to take me out as a better, stronger person with self-esteem and self-leadership. So to me, I'm able to not answer those two questions like that because I've really worked hard to get out of that world. And everybody knows the religious part, I've left it, and I speak adamantly about the ills of it. And I won't stop. So there's my input. Charlie, any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely on the, about the income. But, most of you know that I was in sales for over 30 years. And every one of those jobs wasn't salary, it was all commission. If I didn't sell, I didn't get paid. So I had to learn how to, right there is where my self-esteem went high and low. I would learn the information as quickly as I could to build up my self-esteem so when I was talking to someone, I could possibly have a shot at the sale because I had self-esteem about the service I was selling. That's a very key point. But then, when you're in sales and you're making money, and that's all coming from your effort. It's not like you go into a job from 9 to 5, and no matter if you go or not, you get paid because you're on a salary, and you can call on a sick day because they're going to pay you for a sick day, or you take a vacation. I took a vacation. I didn't get paid for that week, but I made enough money to take those vacations. That's a lot of self-esteem went into that. That obviously sometimes you go down in a slump or something, or you whatever, and then you go down for a while and you go back up, and that's how life was. That's how life still is out there in that AC world. But if you can earn your own income and not rely on anybody else, you have a lot of self-esteem. And just think about how good that would feel. There's the key. How you would feel about having that self-esteem. It still amazes me how much better that my life goes. Your life goes as high or low as your self-esteem does. It controls that. You don't feel good about yourself, you're not making money, you aren't happy. It's like it was pleasures forget about. All that stuff goes out the window. But once your life turns around and you start building self-esteem, all that changes. Because you feel so good. So I'll stop there, Steve.
Okay, great. And as Charlie was saying, he was on 100% commission. I was never on 100% commission. I did have overrides of commission, but I got a salary. So I was making a salary, plus I made quite a bit of bonuses. My perks were bonuses that I could get our clients to give in more programs. And my compensation program that it was set up for me was I made a certain base, but if I could get my clients to go to higher levels, because I also ran a customer service division, and all my people who worked with me, we could get there. They all got it. They got a bonus, and then if all of them got it, I got a bonus for all of the work they did. So, of course, it did work in my favor because we worked hard to make sure all of our clients, the business was increased to reach our goals. But Charlie had to be really, in a way, he was a value creator in that sense because he didn't eat unless I still got a paycheck, but he didn't get one unless he produced. So, in a way, he was already in that mindset before he got involved with what we're doing here at Neil Think. So you're already pretty much where that start already. So you look at where you're at and what you're doing. This is a very important thing. And take time this week. Go back and read this week and study this program and look at where you're at. Now, the last two, which is the orientation for positive change, these are things that we want to commit to. And this is our committing, that I will stop living as a usurper, which is taking from others. I'm here to give, not to take, and learn how to become a creator of competitive values. Dr. Wallace is constantly telling us competitive values. That's business, competition. Competition is good. Competition is healthy. So we're always creating value. So you may have different people offering the same types of products, but how do you present it? How do you support it? How do you work as customer service? That's where it makes differences. So be competitive. And you're going to earn your prosperity and achieve happiness through that competitive value-creating mode. And then it says also, I will withdraw my support from those neo-cheaters. And this is it. I literally walked away from people. I got people out of my life who really would not agree with what I had in that sense, and I knew I had to be pure in this walk because I could not allow myself to get drawn back into that bicameral world. So I had to withdraw my support from those neo-cheaters who would coerce or live off of efforts of others. And they were in my life. But I've walked away from them. I've taken them out of my life. I don't communicate. Have you done that? Then this is going to be work. Again, I tell you, neo-think, neo-tech is not for the faint of heart. It is work. It is making decisions. It's making hard decisions and making major changes. If you're weak, neo-think's not for you. You got to be tough. You got to be strong. You got to believe in what you've got. You got to have self-esteem. See, when you have the strong self-esteem, you can walk away from those losers. You can tell those losers they're losers. But unfortunately, if you don't have it, you'll compromise and you'll let them stay in your life. And you'll feel bad about it, but they'll still be in your life. And they still will be bringing you back to that bicameral mentality. You've got to cut the cords. So, Charlie, your thoughts?
You definitely have to cut the cords. But the only way that you can do that is by self-esteem. But to start out, we all, obviously we had a desire to move forward when we signed up with NeoThink. When we bought that first book, we made a commitment to ourselves to make our lives better. But where is your desire level today? The same thing as your self-esteem is. If it's a low self-esteem, your desire is lacking. It's another mentality that you how bad do you want to change? You have to ask yourself that question every day. How bad do you want to change? It's a whole different mentality, but that's how you start. That's like one of the first steps. You got to take that inventory of yourselves all the time because you want to check off those last two boxes there. Okay? For positive changes, you've got to start looking at this positive. You got all the answers right here. They're all here for you. All you got to do is put them into action. That's it.
Hey, excellent. Yeah. Very good. Thanks, Charlie. Because of time, I can't believe how late it's getting. I'm going to continue on because I want to talk about the dirty little secret. So I'm going back to page 4 under the chapter. Remember the chapter, My Society, chapter 4, A Dirty Little Secret. I'm on page 4. And I want to say I'm going to reveal the secret, and then I want to go to Robin Hood's tonight, and I want you to have thought because we're going to dig into this more next week. But I want to leave you with this thought. But Mark Hamilton says, this is his writings, the easiest and fastest way to rise to attention, power, and popularity is to tear down someone or something of value. The dirty little secret is, the greater the value, then the greater the opportunity for someone such as a politician, journalist, bureaucrat, lawyer, blogger, flamer, to attack the value, tear it down for quick attention, power, and popularity. Value attackers camouflage their dirty little secrets by creating an age-old illusion. So you got the creators who are destroying. These are destroying value creators, these flamers, and they're creating an age-old illusion. The illusion is always the same. The person of value, their target, is made out to be an underhanded, greedy person, a scammer preying on the public. That's the illusion, which is actually the complete opposite of reality. So people destroy people who try to create values. Now, I'll give myself as an example. I have been attacked quite a bit in the society because I'm trying to give you some reality checks, and there are people who aren't comfortable with me doing that. People who do not want me to. And people who want me to believe in the old religion concept, who want me to not get so focused because they're getting uncomfortable. So they'll try to, if they can, try to tear me apart or try to belittle me. As you've noticed me on calls, I don't allow that to happen because I know what they're doing, and I will destroy that. That is the thing because I get the dirty little secret. And the attacker always appears good and humble and all sweetness and all that, but they're friggin' evil. And I can tell the evil. You'll start doing the same as you create values. As neo-thinkers, we have to realize that the dirty little secret is among us, and as we grow and develop the power to the world, that dirty little secret will be attacked. There's going to be the attack of what's happening to us. So remember that as neo-thinkers. Now, I want to give you, and we're going to go into more detail with that next week, but I want to give you the Robin Hood syndrome. Marx says on page 7 of the same chapter, the Neo-Think Society does something wonderful for its members. This exclusive society delivers the necessary tools for success in today's difficult economies, including the tools, weapons to protect that success from ruling and influencing classes who are trying to dupe and destroy them. And you just heard a whole session of classes tonight when we went over Advantage 11. Moreover, we Robin Hoods, the ruling and influential classes' stolen power, we give it back to the struggling working class, to you. We take it from the ruling class, we give it to the working class, you and I. We're the Robin Hoods. We are going to continue to bring and teach more and more people the Neo-Think program, the Neo-Think Self-Leaders program, etc. We are the we're the link between and actually we are the bridge that are going to take people out of the AC world and bring them into the Neo-Think world. We're the bridge, you and I. And that means we're the Robin Hoods. We're going to take from the rich, we're going to bring it to the poor, then they're going to become rich. And he says that the society, the 12 Party, and the manuscripts are going to bring honest power to the powerless. Everyone wants power, the power to earn money, the power to attract desirable lovers, the power to achieve worthy goals, the power to give our families wonderful lives, etc. We can do it. But we must understand that we must destroy the dirty little secret. Think about that. Make some analysis of it. Think about it this week. We're going to dig into that quite a bit more next Friday. Charlie, any comments on that? Feel free. The dirty little secret. And Robin Hood. Robin Hood. Yes, Robin Hood. Yes.
Yeah. We have to be Robin Hoods. And again, that goes back to that self-esteem. You know, Robin Hood had self-esteem, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we have to have that self-esteem to. If you start taking this knowledge that Mark writes here, and Frank R. Wallace wrote, if you just start taking action on these words, that's all you have to do, just a little bit at a time, and you'll start building that up. And because when we take the power from this elite, and we start taking it back into us, see, that's the difference. They have power, and they want to take that power that they have, and they want to throw it over us and control us. All right, that's what the elite does. That's what the deep state does. That's what these parasitical elites do. They love having that power over us, and they'll do anything to keep it. They'll lie, cheat, steal, whatever. All we want to do is get our power back and keep it for ourselves. And that way we can help other people build up their power. And the more power that we can take off of them, the more that we have control of our lives. That's the difference between them and us. We don't want to. I don't want to have power over anybody on this call. I have a hard enough time keeping my own power. I don't want to give it away to anybody. I'm getting very selfish with it because it does help you build up self-esteem when you feel good about yourself. That's the power that we want, and that's the power that we can get by knowledge and by learning. And by working hard. But then, once you start feeling that, you don't want to ever give it away, but you want to help other people learn how to get their own power. And that's what we have to do, to start changing these things around. So it sounds simple. It can be simple. It just depends on where your desire is. If you want this power or not. It's a responsibility. You know, the easy way out here is just not taking responsibility and let the other people have all the power, and I'll just do what they say, and and they'll take care of me. Well, that's working out really well for us now, isn't it? I mean, basically, how much worse can this get? And it's only getting worse. But having your own power and having control in your life as much as you can get in this AC world is it's a mentality shift that you'll love to have. And yeah, Steve, it's getting late.
Okay. Yeah, we got about 2 minutes. Charlie, I want to read my affirmation. I think this is an appropriate session